Asexual Life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you and yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. So if you are a hetero person, so heteromantic asexual, or any other type of hetero, such as actual heterosexual. I know there are heterosexuals that do watch my channel, even though this channel is predominantly aimed at asexuals. So if you're hetero, in other words, you're attracted to the opposite gender, but you know someone who is a crossdresser and you're seriously considering having a relationship with them, but when they cross-dress into the gender that you aren't attracted to. Or it could be the opposite way. They could dress in the gender that you want them to ideally be, but they aren't usually. But from a hetero point of view, usually, for example, I'm attracted to guys. Now, for me personally, I couldn't be in a relationship with someone who is a woman at all. But I say this, but there are buts in the sense that I definitely couldn't be with a woman in a relationship, but I have considered being with a crossdresser. And the reason for this is because I have a crossdresser who is a friend of mine. I know more than one crossdresser, actually. And so usually he identifies as a he, but he can be gender fluid. And I'll call him a he because that's what the public and most people know him as. So when he cross-dresses into female clothes, he becomes a woman. He looks like a woman and everything. So at one point, me and this person were considering being more than friends. And so I thought to myself, like, how could I actually think of this person in a way which wouldn't creep me out if I was in a relationship with them, but they were dressed as a woman? Because I'm not attracted to women whatsoever. But as a guy, they are good looking. And so, yeah, it's kind of weird. So obviously, you know, as I'm hetero and I'm only attracted to the opposite gender or sex, which in my case is cis male, that means assigned male at birth, then I look for a guy who, you know, looks like a guy because that's what I'm attracted to. But if you become attracted to someone who is a crossdresser when they're in the gender that you like them in, what can you do? How could you work around it so it wouldn't be weird? So if I was in a relationship with someone who looked like a woman, that would be really weird for me because I'm not attracted to women whatsoever. However, if you get into a relationship with a crossdresser, you can't then turn around and say to them, oh, sorry, you can only be one gender, because a crossdresser needs to cross-dress. It's part of their life. It's part of who they are. So you can't stop them being that. You know, you have to encourage them to be their full self. So personally for me, I would have to consider how much they cross-dressed. So are they doing it every single day? Are they doing it every single week? Is it for every day, all day? How much is the frequency? Because for me personally, I couldn't be with a guy who cross-dresses as a female if they were cross-dressing every single day and they looked like a woman all the time, because I'm not attracted to women. I wouldn't kiss a guy who was looking like a woman. I get really turned off by that whole idea. So for me personally, and if you're thinking about getting into a relationship with a crossdresser, I would strongly urge you to think about the frequency they cross-dress. Now, anyone can change their mind and life at any point, so they might decide to become more frequent at cross-dressing. So you have to understand that risk if you get into a relationship. If they cross-dress into the gender you're not attracted to, which for me is women, and they were doing that all the time, then it might just be that the relationship is not going to be suitable and you need to just stay friends if you're friends with this person, right? But if, however, the frequency is, say, once a week, or it's like a specific amount of time per day when, for example, you're working, or, you know, it's for a couple of hours a day, that type of thing, then that might be all right for you. Another thing you've got to consider is if you do go out together and they're in the gender you're not attracted to, how will you react and how will they react? So will they still expect you to kiss them and cuddle them and do everything that you would usually do if they're in the gender that they normally are when you're attracted to them? So, for example, for me, if I'm attracted to guys and a guy dresses as a woman, I'm not going to be attracted to him as dressed as a woman. I'm just not, because I'm not attracted to a female look. And so for me personally, I wouldn't want to kiss him or cuddle him like that. It would seem weird to me. I might give him a hug, but I do that with all my friends. But I'm not going to be wanting to cuddle or kiss him or hold hands or anything like that, because I'm not going to see him. I'm going to see her. And I don't get attracted to women. You got me? So you would need to obviously discuss all this stuff beforehand, right? And then you would have to actually discuss as well how they feel. Are they going to want to cross-dress for the rest of their life every single day? And is that the identity they're going to eventually want to adopt? Because, for example, if I got into a relationship with a guy who's a cross-dresser and he cross-dressed more and more into being female, which he might need to do for himself, obviously, you know, I'd want him to be happy. But if he was doing it to the frequency of every day and that's the identity he wanted to take on, it would be no good me being in a relationship with him, because I'm not attracted to women. I can't kiss or cuddle or hold his hand as a woman because I am not into that, right? Every person is different. You've got to decide for you what you would be able to tolerate, accept, like, you know, be happy with, right? I'm not here to say that the way I feel is how you should feel. You might not care if they go into another gender. You might still have the same feelings. You might still want to kiss or cuddle them, even in the other gender. But usually, in my experience of being a hetero person, you usually want that person to look like the gender that you're attracted to. This is usually, but there are exceptions to the rule, obviously. So for me personally, the way I would be in a relationship with a guy who cross-dress would be if he was doing it infrequently, if he was like, you know, doing it for maybe a couple of hours most of the day, and if he was like, or even once a week or a few times a week in private, that'd be fine. But if he wanted to be public with me, because it's a big part of his life, the only way I could have a relationship with him successfully, as I see it, is that when he's the guy, I can kiss, cuddle, hold his hand if we're suitable for a relationship. The friend I know isn't suitable for a relationship with me, but, you know, say I had a guy friend who is a crossdresser who was suitable for me, then the times he's a guy, I could kiss, cuddle, hold his hand and be physically affectionate. But when he's a woman, I would treat him like a best friend, like it was a female best friend. So for the time that he would be a woman, I would hang out with him, I'd spend time with him, I'd be like a best friend, best close friend, and I'd be there for him as a friend, and we'd go out together as females, if you like, go shopping together, eat together. So it would be like having a split type of relationship, one where you have your time kissing, cuddling, holding hands as the guy, in my case with this hypothetical situation, and I get quality time with a female friend as well. So I get best of both worlds. So that is how you can look at it, is that you can have the best of both worlds. You can have like the male that you love, adore, want to kiss and cuddle and touch sensually or whatever you want to do, and you can actually have the female who's your best friend, or vice versa, you know. So I think this is a really healthy way of looking at it, but you would have to establish boundaries. You would have to establish how long they are going to actually be the other gender. So if I was in a relationship with a guy and every day he was being a woman, I couldn't be in a relationship with him, because I wouldn't have any of my quality time with him in the gender that I'm attracted to, and I wouldn't be able to kiss, cuddle, and hold his hand. And kissing's very important for me. Physical affection's very important for me. I'm a very sensual girl. So, you know, this is how you would have to communicate. there's nothing to stop him later on just being so repressed as a male that he really just needs to be a female all the time. Then you would likely have to split up, and whether you could handle still being friends or not would be very difficult. You know, you'd have to make that decision. But if they decide to go to the opposite gender all the time, it might be easier to still be their friend because you're not attracted to that gender, right? And so, you know, this is the only way I think personally for me that I could be with a crossdresser is if they were a guy the majority of the time, and then the times they were female, we went out together like a couple of girl friends, just friends, and we hang out together and we do girl things, I guess, but I'm more masculine anyway, so probably I'd be the more masculine one in that situation, they be the more girly one, which would be quite interesting. And yeah, so it would be very interesting, but personally I prefer to be with a guy who doesn't cross dress, because for me, you know, there's then no kind of ambiguity as to what's going to happen. There's a lot of clarity, but no relationship is guaranteed. And if you really love the person who cross dresses and you know how important it is, which it is, a person who's a cross dresser needs to cross dress. Usually they feel repressed, else they feel they're not being their true authentic self unless they can actually be who they were born to be, and they believe they're born to be, like in the case of my friend, born to be a woman. You know, if they believe they're born to be a woman and be a woman all the time, then obviously that would be no good for me. If they believe they're born to be a woman in special times, certain times, on their own, in the comfort of their own privacy, you know, that might be different. That might be workable, you know, like if they're doing it on their own when I'm working or when I'm doing my own thing, that, you know, that might work out really well. But the last thing you want to do is to repress someone and stop them being themselves, because that's not love, that's just ego, right? You need to be able to support that person in whatever they choose to do and be able to support them as the male and female that they want to be. You know, I mean, I just couldn't personally kiss or cuddle or be affectionate with a woman. I just, not someone who even looks like a woman, because it's just not what I'm about. But I would respect them and I would still love them as in a friend during that time. I don't even think I would love them as my boyfriend, because I would be like, well, I would still have love for my boyfriend, but I would be thinking of my boyfriend as in what he looks like as a male. And I'd be thinking, this is my friend when they're with me in female form. So it's kind of like a mindset shift. A lot of things in relationships can be mindset shifts, you know. How you approach them a lot of the time is how you do it with changing your mind. You know, like I'm working on the Asexual Guide to Sex because, you know, but I haven't done much work this week on it because I've had to have legal paperwork to deal with pretty much 5 days in a row. It's done my head in. I've done 2 hours, well, just over 2 hours, about 2 hours, 25 minutes is it, on Asexual Guide to Sex. And, you know, for those of you who want to have sex for whatever reason or want to try it, you know, part of that is reprogramming your mind to have the attitude that you want to have it. If you want to have it, you know, you've got to be willing. In order to change your mind about anything, you have to be willing to want to do it in the first place. But if you're an asexual person who finds sex a difficult concept, but you really like to have a go at it, then the Asexual Guide to Sex will help you with that. And so it's kind of a mindset shift. Because years ago, I wouldn't have even contemplated ever being with a crossdresser, ever in my life. It would be totally out of the question. But because I care about my friend and I believe people should be themselves, then this is why I've done this video. Because, you know, you might know someone who's a crossdresser. They might be a really good friend and you might want a relationship with them. I've met other crossdressers. I met one crossdresser and online. And well, I've met a few others, and some of them I feel are very kind of like perverted. So they will ask to see a certain part of my body, such as my foot, you know, and send photographs of a certain body part or legs or something. And I just don't like that. For me, that's too sexual. It's like a fetish. It's like using my body for sexual pleasure. And I really don't like that. And I'm not up for it. So I think in that scenario, I would just be creeped out and I wouldn't want that person to be my partner. But the crossdresser who's my friend and other crossdressers I've known who are actually asexual, they don't do that type of thing. They don't ask me to send them photographs of body parts. But the cross-dressers that I have had doing that, it just makes me feel so uncomfortable. It's like they are having a fetish over a body part of mine, and that's disgusting. So if you're going to be with a cross-dresser, it has to be with someone you trust, you love, you feel comfortable around, you able to openly communicate anything you want without fear, because you're going to have to be able to negotiate like times for them to do it, and or be accepting them to do it. You're going to have to like get your daily routine sorted out, how much cross-dressing they're going to be doing, how much you're going to have time to be with them in the hetero couple situation. And so it does take a lot of work in terms of working this out. You know, I mean, the cross-dressers I know, you know, it's a really big part of who they are, and they feel really good doing it, and it makes them feel great. When I see them send me photographs, for example, of them in female clothing, they look more like more made up than I do, because I don't wear makeup usually, so they look more like a woman in the sense of like lipstick and makeup. But I'm definitely female, as you can tell. But you know, they just look very, very you know, like they've got a ton of makeup on basically, and they look more like they're dressed like a woman that I am, because they're over the top in the sense that they're full on everything, like stockings, wig, loads of makeup. It's like, oh my gosh, you look more female than me. But yeah, so you know, always remember that people need to be themselves, and it's much better for them to be open and honest with you, and vice versa, than for you both to end up in a relationship that you're unhappy with, or feel repressed in, feel you can't be yourself. And you know, if you love someone and you really think they're the one for you, and the cross-dressing is the only difficulty, then I hope you can take this on board, that you could be in the relationship with them romantically in the hetero way, but then when they're in the cross-dressing state, you could be with them as a best friend. And for me personally, I would still love the guy, but when he was dressed as a woman, I wouldn't be thinking I love him like that. I would be thinking he's my best friend. So I would have to have two mindsets. One is I love this guy, he's amazing, want to kiss, cuddle him, hold him hand, stroke him like his chest. And the other one, where he was female, I would have that, oh, he's a really best friend of mine. We're going on like a girls lunch or whatever, and we're gonna have some fun as friends. So I would have love for them, and I would have friendship for them at the same time, and I would be kind of splitting that when I'm with them into the two different types of feelings. So that's personally how I would do it. I would compartmentalize that. Like, it would be the guy I loved, want to kiss, cuddle, hold hands with when he's a guy, and when he's a woman, because I'm not attracted to women at all, it would be like he's my best friend, want to spend time with him, but I wouldn't be doing the kissing and cuddling and stuff like that. This is how I personally deal with it. But I wanted to do this video because it seems like there's quite a few secret cross-dressers, and if you become friends first with that person, you'll probably find out they're a cross-dresser, and that might be the only thing stopping you having a relationship. And you know, the world needs more healthier, good, loving, caring, committed relationships that are based on friendship, bestest friendship. So if that's something you're interested in and you think you might be able to work, do have a conversation with your person that you're interested in, and talk through things about what this relationship might look like before you actually get into it. Right? I think this is a really good advice. Just open, honest communication, do hypotheticals, and ask some questions like, so if we were to get into a relationship, like, how much would you be cross-dressing? How much would you want to do that? Like, what times would you be doing that? Would it be all day? Would it be the weekends only, at night time only? What would you do? Because obviously, if they're working, they might only be able to cross-dress in the evening, and that might be your time that you want to kiss, cuddle, and stroke them, if you like. And if they are just going to cross-dress when they're meant to be having quality time with you every single night of the week, I don't think that would work. It wouldn't work for me. It would only work really if they had certain times that they were a woman and we went out together as friends. And then when they're the guy, I would prefer that to be the guy the majority of time, so I can have kissing and cuddling and holding hands with them every day. So it's about getting balance as well, you know, because, you know, it's important for them to have a balanced life where, you know, if they need to present as a guy because that they got work, or, you know, they got to present as a guy for some other reason, but really they want to be a woman, then you got to take that into account. And is it they want to be a woman and they think they are a woman, or is it a case of they just enjoy the clothing, enjoy the woman look? So you've got to understand their mentality, where they're coming from, their attitude, their beliefs, their values, what they hold dear, in order to assess the situation if you're able to be in a relationship with this person or not. But don't forget your hetero needs, right? Like I said, I couldn't be in a relationship with a guy who's cross-dressing all the time because I need kissing and cuddling and holding hands. And if he was just going to be a woman all the time, then there would be a big disconnect there, a big disassociation, if you like. And I would need to end the relationship because I would not be attracted to a woman. So it's very difficult and complicated if it becomes that way. So what I really advise you to do is, if you have a friend like this, is please just have tons of open, honest discussion. Ask them what their ideal scenario would be. Would you live together? Would you live separately? You know, how much time would they want to be this other person, if you like? And how do they visualize that working with you? And when are you going to get your time when you can kiss, cuddle, hold hands, and be really intimate with each other in a way which feels good to you as a hetero person, you know? And ask them outright, like, if they change into the gender that you're not attracted to, would they still want to kiss, cuddle, and hold your hand? Because they might, but you might not. If a guy wanted to do that with me dressed as a woman, I couldn't do it. I'm not interested in women. I'm not attracted to women. So I could only do that when he was presenting as a male. And so you've got to understand how the dynamics are going to work between you two before you actually enter a relationship. You can't have a successful relationship unless you've got open, honest communication, talk about anything and everything before it happens, as well as during and after it, right? Anyway, I hope you found this video useful, helpful, insightful. Communication, openness, honesty is essential. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live right now, post a new video. Mwah! Lots of love to you. I'll see you soon. Next video live stream. Lots of love. Bye.